I want to teach you how Michael Jordan taught me how to increase my testosterone. So, if you have been going to the gym for a long time now, then you probably realize that after you've done your session, that you're a lot more aggressive, you think that you can take on the world, you're a lot hornier, you're just a lot more confident, right? And there seems to me be a clear answer to why this is. So why could this be? These effects that I just mentioned, what could they be caused by? If you're getting more aggressive, hornier, and overall more confident, why could this be? What is happening in our body, do you think? What hormone is going up or down? Well, it's obviously testosterone that's increasing, right? It's an obvious answer. And we can feel when that happens. So what does this tell us? This is a very important conclusion that I want you to take away from this video. Is that we can quite literally track our own testosterone without going to a lab. If we can just develop this acute, like sixth sense almost, of when our testosterone goes up or down, then we know what actions we should take to increase it. And this is what happened to me when I watched some highlights from Michael Jordan's The Last Dance. So there's this Netflix documentary which is apparently very good. I haven't watched it in its entirety, but I've watched parts of it, and I've especially watched the bits where he talks about like when Michael Jordan talks about him taking everything personally. So there was this trainer from an opposing team who were supposed to have dinner with Michael and all of his basketball friends, and he doesn't come and speak to him. He just walks right past him and ignores him. So this trainer ignores MJ, and then Michael, there is this interview with him from later, from when the documentary is being filmed, and they ask him about this moment, and he remembers it very well. And he says, he walked right past me, and that's all I needed. It became personal with me, and he took that so personally that he torched and humiliated the other team during those playoffs. And so when I heard this, when I watched him say that, along with all of the other times that he took it personally, because this was a recurring theme apparently in the series, that he took everything personally. So when I heard this, I could feel and when I took on this persona of Michael Jordan, when anything bad happened to me, when someone disrespected me, I could just think for myself, okay, fine. You want to do that? Okay, fine. And it became personal with me. That's all I needed. And I started thinking this way, and I could feel a tangible, a palpable difference in my testosterone levels. It's the same feeling that I feel after I've gone to the gym, after I've worked out. So my conclusion is that it has to be because my testosterone increases. So one of the risks with this is that you might have had a similar feeling when watching some motivational videos on YouTube. The risk with these is that if you just watch motivational content without doing something real in the real world, then you'll just feel ashamed of yourself that you watched these videos without doing anything, and then your testosterone will just plummet after that. So don't just do anything that feels good in that way. So if just because something gives you a temporary testosterone spike, it doesn't mean that it's good for you in the long term. But this can still give us some sense of what actions we should take to get higher testosterone, which is something that every man should want. You will get a higher sex drive, more energy, more muscle mass. Will get stronger both physically and mentally, and so on. So if we can identify this feeling, if we can identify when our T levels surge and go down, then we can know what to do and what not to do. And one thing we can do is what Michael Jordan did, which is to go to war with everything. And don't do this in a petty sort of way. Don't, if someone beats you at tennis, don't try to become a tennis player. Don't do that, because that will just ruin your life in other ways. You shouldn't focus on catching too many rabbits at once. You should focus on one thing. But you should connect every action that you do with out competing other men, because testosterone and competition are inexorably linked. So if you place yourself in an environment where you're constantly competing against other men, or even against other people in general, or even things, then every little victory will increase your testosterone in a way that doesn't affect you negatively in the future. So just to give an example, if you have a large meal in front of you, and when I eat the first portion, and then it's like a monster portion, so I eat that, and then I take a second one, and I take as much as I can, and then I'm sort of nervous, I'm sort of afraid. I don't want to use the word afraid in a negative way, because everyone's afraid, but I get sort of nervous that what if I don't make it? What if I can't eat this? And the reason why I'm eating so much is I'm on a bulk right now, and I have quite a hard time putting on muscle. So I'm about 170, and I want to get slightly heavier. And yeah, I know that everything I put on is gonna be muscle mass basically. That's just because I'm an ectomorph. So anyway, so I get this big second portion, and I'm a little bit nervous, and I think, fuck you, I'm gonna eat you up. And then I eat the meal, and then after it I'm like, fuck you, I won this battle. And then I know that my testosterone increases just from doing that. So you can go to war with everything, even something as inanimate as just a portion of lunch. You can go to war with it and win. So just keep winning at everything you do. Then your testosterone will increase, and you will get better gains, get stronger, and all of those effects that I talked about earlier. So there was an interesting study done on football teams. I think it was in England, something like that, like Liverpool and football clubs like that. And it showed that the supporters, the fans of the teams, their testosterone levels increased or decreased based on if the team won or lost. So isn't that interesting? They're not even winning anything themselves. They're just associating themselves with a team, and then basing that on basically their happiness on someone else's victories, which is, I mean, insane. So if you follow any team like that, if you follow it too heavily, and you can of course follow sports, and I follow all sorts of martial arts, but I'm not emotionally invested in a player or a fighter, and or I'm at least trying not to, as little as I can, because if I am emotionally invested, then I can just, my testosterone levels can go down by someone else not performing, and I will not let that happen. But everything that is in your control, try to make it a war and become invested in it, and try to win at every cost. And another thing you can take away from Michael Jordan and The Last Dance is that he didn't react to insults, too emotionally. He didn't become overtly angry or something like that. He was just silent. Okay, fine. Okay, fine. You're gonna do this? Okay, fine. I'm gonna show you. More like that. And I like to divide this into 3 categories, and we can call them alpha, beta, and sigma. And those are terms that, people don't like to use, but I'm gonna use them right now because I don't have any other terms that describe this as well. So if someone insults you, there's the alpha way, the beta way, and the sigma way. So or we can start with the beta way. So the beta way is basically that you recoil, that you shy away, that if someone calls you something insulting, then you just you don't make eye contact, you just sort of look away, and you're, people can see that you're weak, and you don't make anything. You make it so obvious that you don't have anything to put up against this. The second way, the alpha way, is if someone insults you, you go at them, you yell at them, you attack them verbally, and you become really angry and so on. And then the sigma way is, which I don't like using these terms, I must say, because it's been so, the term has been so lost its value completely. But either way, so the third way is that you just look at the guy, like if you've seen Alex Pereira, the UFC fighter, looking at Israel Adesanya, he just looks at him, and he gives him this look of, I would fucking kill you. If there were no other people here, then I could do anything with you. I could fucking beat the shit out of you. And you tell the person that has insulted you in a more subtle way that he's nothing compared to you. And that is a much more powerful way of being dominant or taking no shit than to be blatantly aggressive and become angry and emotional. Because being emotional, although anger can be a masculine feature, it's much more stylish and more Peaky Blinders sort of like to just look at the guy, stare him into his soul, and show him that he's no match for you. So go to war with everything, and place yourself in a mental state of competing against other men. This is very important, because then you're telling your brain that, oh shit, I have to compete with this guy. If I don't, he might outcompete me. He might buy the car I want. He might get richer than me. He might take all of my stuff. And then it just it forces the brain to give you more testosterone to compete. That's I think how the brain works for men. So go to war with everything and take everything personally.